Hi, Kim.
Hi, Tierney.
We
Let
did
me get
it.
my let me get the camera angled right. This is bad. I'm trying with my iPad.
We did it.
We did it.
And it wasn't so scary, was it?
No, my iPad may fall over, but that's just the cost of doing business. Oh, I see Ronnie. Ronnie is from Brazil who just joined, and
Hi.
Yo, who I went to Iceland with, is on here. I see that coming through. Very cool.
Amazing.
Hello. Hello, people who have joined on.
I'm just so happy this worked.
Yeah, I know.
This is
We
our, for both of us, we've never done this before.
We've never done this before, and I think we probably texted longer than we're going to be on Instagram Live about how to do this. But here we are.
We're
It's
here.
it's
Oh
good.
man. And thank you for doing it. It's always great to talk to you, of course. And we can
Totally.
talk for hours.
We have talked for hours. So, but we're not going to talk for hours today. We actually, people will be happy to know we set ourselves a time limit.
Yeah. And I think it also kicks us off. So we'll
It
have to
does.
be done.
It does kick us off. Oh, thanks, Dave. Super nice comment.
Oh,
I need nice comments. I don't know. I've had a hard weekend.
oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's just more pandemic living. I'm a teacher, and I guess we thought it would be different this fall,
Right.
and it's not going to be that different. My school hasn't really announced what's going on yet, but obviously there'll be mask wearing.
Right.
I'm going to talk about the Florida governor a minute, Tierney. I can't help myself.
Wait, who?
You're like, I don't know what you're talking
You
about.
mean our
Yes.
future president?
Oh my God, don't even say that. I have to like, poi, poi, poi. No.
I'm sorry. Positive, positive.
Exactly. Um, but yeah, so I just started thinking about, I was like writing some curriculum, and I thought maybe I teach younger kids. So I teach the 12 and unders. They're not vaccinated yet. And I thought maybe they would have to wear masks, but I would not.
Yeah,
Because it's really hard to push your voice through a mask for 8 hours a day.
right.
But clearly, now that we're seeing what the Delta variant's doing, we're all going to be masking up, which is interesting because, some states are not necessarily requiring school students to wear masks. I think you are one of them. You're
We
living in
are,
Florida.
but I know a lot of schools. My mom works for OCPS, so I'm one of the kids that had their mom work at their school.
Oh no, I had that with my son for a while.
I
Uh,
think I knew that. Yeah, my mom, I think she purposely worked at our high school so she could monitor my sister and I. But she ended up staying there, and she works with ESE kids. But so a lot of schools are opting into mask regardless of
right,
that.
because they have the choice to do so.
Yeah, right. Hopefully they do. But
So my son s- started at my school, which is a private school, when he was in seventh grade. So he was like the faculty kid.
mhm.
And I'll never forget the first lunch we had in the cafeteria. I just had my tray, and I was only walking to like this table that I proctor. I was in just his general vicinity, and I could see his face looking at me, this slight like, no, no, don't
Yeah.
talk to me. They come back to you, but the middle school years, they're like, nothing you say or do is right, and you know nothing. And I know people who are probably listening know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Although your parents never know anything. But no, you have a close relationship with your dad. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, my dad is just, he's so different from my mom. And it's okay, they're not listening to this. So, my mother is amazing. My parents are very supportive and great people. But my dad is just a lot easier to get along with and talk to. And he's just very chill. And he and I work on a lot of projects together. So, for instance, he just built me, you can't see it, but I'm redoing my studio, and he built me this desktop rack mount so I can put in studio gear. So they've both been very involved in the band, with building things, and we're actually building a piano shell right now. So they've just always been super involved in everything down to like car trouble and stuff like that. So they both like it's weird. Like you would think most parents would be the opposite and like disown you for being in a band or whatever, but my parents will both wear the t-shirts, and like my mom will promote me to the restaurant servers and stuff. So it's very cool.
Well, you're from a slightly different generation than me, and I do think it's a bit generational, because I think of my parents and my mom, super cool. My dad, I went to Georgetown University, which is how I ended up here, and so I took my Georgetown University degree and promptly started Jawbox.
Yeah.
Right after college. And I know my father was like, wait, what? He didn't really understand, but it was also a thing that I was talking to someone about this just today. My generation of parents, so they were boomers, like, but the older boomers, they expected you to like leave the house at age 17 or 18 and never return. They're like, I'm done with the responsibility. Like, we obviously will still have a parent, young adult relationship, but now you're out of the house. Yay.
Yeah.
But this is different now. Like, parents are way more involved. And I see this as a teacher, and this has pros and cons. Sometimes they're overly involved. But yeah, it's generational, because my parents were like, see ya. Like, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Right.
And I even remember I didn't even visit my college before I went. Like, we didn't make college visits, and like all these things didn't happen. So hi to all the people joining. It's like very cool. I had this fear that it would be just you and me and like two people, which is fine. That would be cool. We could actually invite them on. My major at Georgetown, was sociology with a minor in economics, which is probably not kind of helpful for being in a band, actually.
Yeah.
Those two things.
We have one question here too. Let's see. Oh, never mind. Okay, I don't know how to use this. Go ahead.
I read that you press the question button and the questions will appear. So if people have questions they should ask, and I'll try to. I
thought that's what I was doing, but I don't think I did the right thing. So
I'll look. But my father, for the person who asked about my major, my father was really, for many years, like quite flabbergasted that you would go to college and then start a band. Like, that just didn't compute. So, but I think
that Jay's parents were kind of like mine, because he's told me a couple times that his dad maybe is like the really supportive one of his band life. Because I think he's told us a story of his dad coming to see him.
Yes. Jay's dad would wear these like total dad jeans pulled up really high. I remember, you're giving me like a flashback memory. And he'd be like, especially at the early government issue shows before Jawbox, his dad would be there, and kind of on the edge of like the pit, kind of dangerous position for an older dad.
Sure.
But yeah, I had forgotten that. Yes, that is true. That was like that's really cool. I want to get back to something you said. I think of you as a maker. I know that's all trendy now to say maker, but that's what you are. And I love it, because I have a really good brain with certain things. I think we all have strengths and weaknesses, but my spatial abilities and awareness are not good. Like, when my son would build these intricate Lego kits, he was great at it, and he realized early on I could not follow the Lego instructions. Like, I couldn't translate the 2D to the 3D. So I was relegated to just, can you find me the red piece with 2 dots on it? Like, that was my role. So building things is something for me that I would start cursing, and like I tried to teach myself knitting a bunch of times because I heard it was relaxing.
Yeah.
But all it did was stress me out. These are things I'm not good at. So you've built a ton of cool stuff, even in this last year, because
I get that from him. He's probably my dad is the most resourceful person I've ever met in my life. And I think he gets it from his dad. And we would go to my grandparents' house down South Florida, and everything was handmade, and they lived on like a mini farm, and there was no AC, it was just like as resourceful as possible, like living off the farm, essentially. So my dad has always kind of had that mentality, and he's always known how to fix things. You know, for example, so our big project this past year, it's taken me a really long time, but we were rebuilding my roads here. I've had for, you know, 10 plus maybe 15 years now. I bought off of a Craigslist pasture who wasn't using it, and that's really, you can get like the best instruments from Craigslist pastures. But I got a really good deal on it, and I never had a chance to like redo it because it had all the old original 70s parts. So you know, had a lot of time this past year, and our project together was to just gut it and just redo everything, get rid of all the old like oxidized tines and things like that. So, and he's never worked on a piano before, so we're just like, we're figuring it out as we go. We re-Tolexed it. I put this new sparkly black Tolex on it, and he was just able to figure it out, and like we were able to do it because he just has that, you know, that kind of mechanical working brain. So I think I get that from him. I don't know. It's just like, and it's just fun and rewarding to build your own stuff. And you know, the records I just made, those were all handmade. So
oh, you need to stop on this because I need to brag about you. So no, like I get to do that. Like, you know, it's like awful if you do it with your, you know, let me do it for you. Tierney, okay. Tierney is in a band called The Pauses, and I'm sure many people know that who are on here, and some probably don't. But in addition to that, you've just released your first solo work, right? And it's a 3-song EP, which can be found in the usual spots, but the actual product itself, you want to talk a little bit about the insane creation you've made?
Yeah, so I was trying really, really hard to get a physical version of the EP, and I couldn't find anyone to press the vinyl for whatever reason. I think, you know, last year was really hard for everybody financially. So I was like, all right, I'll just do a little tape run, you know, because it's affordable. It's really cheap to make tapes. And since I'm going to be doing a cassette, which is like a ridiculous thing, I'm going to make it look ridiculous. So I got like glitter tapes, and I found back when I was little, my mom, I think to overcompensate, she would have my name put on things like custom made because she felt bad I could never find like my name on like a tourist keychain or something like that. So she had all these pencils made for me. I just had them forever because like who's going to use that many pencils, you know? So I was like, I'll put that with the tape, and it'll be this like kind of special little thing.
A pencil that actually says Tierney Tough?
Yeah. Yeah.
The first and last name is on the pencil?
Yeah.
You have a cool rock name. Just you're lucky, right? Like it's not it's your real name.
It's my real name, but I used to hate it when I was little because it was so different from.
Did kids pick on you?
Yeah, and not a mean way, but kind of like they didn't know how to pronounce it or know what it was, you know. So I was like, Mom, please just call me Jennifer or something normal, you know, like this is too weird. And I think over time I just really grew to appreciate it. But she named me after Jean Tierney, the actress, for the 40s. So I just, you know, I feel lucky. But yeah, she would get me like a t-shirt with my name or just something, you know, because she just is that person. She has to buy things, but just to overcompensate for that. So I had these things, and I was like, that's perfect. That can go with this ridiculous cassette thing. And then I actually found this woman named Bailey who has a lathe cutter in her apartment, and she makes lathes.
As you do.
Yeah, right.
Lathe cutter in her apartment.
We all do. Yeah. So, so she hand pours lathes, and her whole thing is that she wants to do something custom and unique. And I was like, perfect, because I want to do something crazy. So we collaborated on this idea for a Polaroid film box set. So I went and I found all these little gift boxes, and I built the box, and then she poured like each track is on its own Polaroid lathe. So then there are different photos from a session I did with my friend Sean when I was in Athens. We just kind of went around and took photos and stuff. So Yeah, so it's just like this unique, and it's very, we did like less than 60 copies of it. So it's just special boutique thing that almost didn't happen. And I'm really glad it did. So, yeah, so everything was just kind of like, the whole process was meant to be this kind of personal, special, intimate thing. So that kind of worked really well with that.
It's exciting. Like,
It is exciting, and it was an experiment, and I didn't know I was gonna even put it out. Like, the whole like impetus for it was like last year. JV Don Vanderslice asked me to open for him for his Noise Pop live stream, and I was like, no, like I don't want to do that. I don't want to do a live stream. That sounds terrifying. And so he's like, no, no, just think about it. And I'm like, all right, I'll think about it. And I did, and it was like just such a generous offer. He was like, "You're the first person I thought of," and I just, I
you
adore
know, you know what is,
JV.
I'm a super fan of John Vanderslice. You know
How
that.
can you not be? He's
I,
just amazing.
he's a great,
So,
yeah, he's a great person. Music, so creative. And hi to Damon Locks. I see that Damon Locks is on here. Yay.
hello.
And
Thank
that is hilarious. It's a story about how she got her name is hilarious. I see the comment.
you.
Tierney, I'm not in charge of this live Instagram. You are. So if you press the question button again, you might see
Oh,
questions.
let's do it.
I don't know if there are any. People can definitely ask questions of us. But
There's no questions yet, but people can submit them into this little question icon here, and we'll click on them.
yeah, or I'm watching your comments. You can put them in the comments. Come up. Um,
Yes, you're doing good.
oh, I'm doing well with the technology. Thanks. What people may not know is I actually one of the things I do at my school is educational technology. So I'm like, oh, surely you can figure out Instagram Live, okay? But
And it was much easier than we thought, right? Like,
but I'm gonna fully admit I am such a tech geek that I was really bummed out to learn that I couldn't do Instagram Live on my big Mac, computer.
yeah.
Um, it has to be on an iPhone or iPad or any phone.
Right.
And so I just spent. You're gonna laugh at me, Tierney. I just spent 2 hours
Oh gosh.
trying to figure out how to hack it through third-party apps to get it onto my computer. And I think but then I didn't have the self-confidence to like press the button to start it all. So I'm like, what if it doesn't work? So
I'm so
iPad.
sorry.
No, no, no.
Next time we're gonna do Facebook Live.
No, this stuff gives me actual pleasure. Like I go down rabbit holes with technology. So
My friend Josh says he came to our show in Austin. That was a
that,
super fun
uh,
show.
that show in Austin, I want to say Josh was hot.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
really hot.
like literally hot.
What's the name of that place? It's the Mohawk,
The
right?
Mohawk, yeah. We
What?
played the outdoor stage.
Yeah, it's such a cool venue. I mean, it is with the second like layer, the balcony up on top, but it's an outdoor venue. But the band's covered, of course. It made me think. It made me reminisce because a guy is doing a book about Club Emos, the famous, iconic Club Emos in Austin, and asked me for an emo story. And I'm happy to say you guys could be the first to hear this story before I actually write it up, which is we played at Emos, Jawbox played at Emos in March. And normally March is delightful in places like Austin, Texas. And it was when we started. We played on the patio, which is outside. And it was probably in the 60s when we started. I'm like, oh, perfect weather for playing a show outdoors.
Yeah.
But then this crazy freak Texas storm rolled in, this late winter storm, and started hailing on us. So hail, and then my hands were so cold I could barely press the fretboard. But that's not really where the story ends because Jay freaked out so much during the encore that he managed to split his own head open
Oh
with
my
the
God.
stock of his guitar. And I look over and there's just blood pouring down his face. And we were like the show must go on kind of people because we were. I actually, like Bill tore his ACL on stage and we kept playing. Like I was throwing up in Florida once at a show and we kept playing. Like on stage I was throwing up. Like that's another room. But so after the show, we had to go to the emergency room in Austin, Texas, and Jay got staples in his forehead, and then we just played the next night.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, because we just really thought canceling a show is like the most terrible thing of all, right?
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. I
People have come from maybe locally, but maybe not.
yes. I
And
absolutely
I
agree.
don't know, it just feels like, and then you think like, when's the next time I'm gonna be here? Like, who knows? WTF is perfect. Yeah, well put in the comments. I like that. Yeah,
Yeah, that Austin show, I remember all of us were just like after, especially after you guys played, you were all in puddles.
puddles
And
dripping in my
yeah, it was
eyes.
like,
Yeah.
and I remember that was the first time like I had a light bulb went off, and I was like, we should get a fan for the stage.
And there was I had a Jawbox fan, like I toured with
Yes.
a fan.
And after that tour, Jason bought me a fan for my birthday.
I'm glad I inspired you to get a fan, a box fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
And
right.
we used it, and it was just like a life changer.
But
So
I hate watching video of myself. It, just not a good
yeah.
thing. Um, thanks. I'll always keep playing muscle. All right. This is the guy I went to Iceland with, and I look back at some of the videos from the 2019 reunion tour we did, and my hair's blowing like 1970s porno kind of.
No, it was epic.
No, it's awful.
It was great.
I had no idea. Like, I just wanted to stay cool. Like, I'm a pragmatic thinker. I'm like, how can I stay as cool as possible?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I thought those photos were really cool.
Oh,
And
thanks.
I thought you like looked amazing, and I mean, I totally understand. Like I won't watch stuff after of myself, and I just like I don't know. I thought you looked cool, and it inspired me to buy a fan. So
That tour I was so humbled by that tour, at the turnout, at the enthusiasm, about people bringing their children to the show and introducing them to us who are also Jawbox fans.
yeah,
And then, cool, like I like to be cold. I'm not cool. I call myself a nerd. I'm very geeky and nerdy, and cool is not a word I usually use to describe myself. Yeah. I like to be, I hate hot weather. Thus, the trip to Iceland. There were other reasons for the trip to Iceland, which I might get into if we speak about.
oh, I want to ask you about that for sure. Well, first question is, why was there an outdoor stage show on that summer tour?
I guess that was the most appropriate venue for the turnout in Austin. I don't know, but I
It
think
was
it's.
fun either
I was
way.
gonna say, I think it's punk rock. Thank you, my amazing stage presence.
She does have a great bass tone, and that is one of my questions for you soon, because I have a story related to your bass tone.
Okay, because people ask a lot about that, and yeah, no, I'm happy to talk about it for sure. What are we
Yeah,
talking about first? What are you asking me first?
absolutely. Well, I'll just tell you. So I've done a lot of hired gun stuff over the last, how many years or whatever, and I was playing in this like kind of folk indie pop band or whatever, and I had the guitarist came up to me and he's like, "Hey, it sounds really good, but it's a little too Kim Coletta sounding for this show." And I don't think he was being mean. Like he was a fan, Obviously, he could reference your sound, but
Too Kim Coletta sounding.
it was
I get that sometimes.
it was too grungy for the indie pop, whatever. It was not intentional. It was kind of I just got my Mustang bass, and that's kind of just the nature of a short scale bass, is it has like a growl to it, and but the point of the story is your tone is so distinct that he was calling it out.
So interesting. I would love if people put in the comments right now how they hear my bass sound, just with like a few words. Like I think that'd be cool. I'm curious. Like it's
Well,
hard
did
like
you? Is that something that was planned, or did you kind of just stumble upon
fall
it?
into it.
Mm-hmm.
My first bass was a Fender Precision, an old Fender Precision, which weighed like 300 pounds, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
really, really heavy.
Yeah.
switch from that to my next bass was, and I still have this bass, was a Fender jazz bass. And that full scale, I've never played anything but a full scale bass. And I like the jazz bass has a thinner neck. And we've put our hands, haven't we put our hands, you and me, up to each other? We have small hands.
Yeah.
And so it can be hard to press the fretboard at times. So I started playing, the jazz neck is better. Long scale, light strings. I think that's one of the keys to my bass tone, actually. A lot of punk rock and rock bass players play thicker and heavier strings. So mine are long scale, light strings, GHS boomers. I've always played that. Cooling card explains the sound. Solid,
Oh
heavy.
yeah.
Okay.
Cooling card is a great bass line.
Oh, I was just practicing that song yesterday. Full bodied like a good wine. This is a European here, so I get
Drinkable.
that liquor comparison. So and then I've always played through a Hartke head. It has a tube preamp, but it's basically a solid state head.
Oh,
And
didn't you try the orange head? Did you like
well,
that?
I'm getting there. And so, but the real key, I think, to my sound came, we were endorsed by a small, guitar manufacturer called Schecter out in California. And I
Right.
must say that if you're looking to get a Schecter like mine, because my Schecter was made for me and it looks like a Fender jazz bass, I looked at the Schecter site now. They're like making like metal, heavy metal looking. You've seen it. It's really not my cup of tea, but
Yeah.
so that Schecter bass was really when my sound evolved. Like that was on the last two records. And I love that bass so much. If anything happens to that bass, I'll be on the ground weeping, like seriously. And I don't use any pedals. So there's no pedals. It's just a tuning pedal. That's it.
Yeah.
What gauge? Long scale, light. I don't know what the 4 gauges are. I could grab a set. But I can't stand up because I have pajama bottoms on, like as you do, right? Like you have a shirt on and your pajama
I
bottoms.
wore pants for this, Kim.
That's good of you. Yeah, no pedals, no pedals. Someone gave me a pedal on this last tour, and I'm excited to try it. Jawbox is about to start practicing again in 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's good. We practice at Jay's house in the basement. Jay has this really
Yes, I've been in the
good
basement.
home in the Baltimore suburbs, and the basement is a good practice space for us. It's awesome. But yeah,
And
my tone is like it's my tone. But on this tour, this last tour, the Hartke head blew up in Boston.
oh, that's right.
Yes, that Matt, if your name is Matt, that's right for the gauges, for the person who asked, laughing about my pajama bottoms. I want to almost stand up. They're very classy pajama bottoms, but still, they are pajama bottoms. Because I don't know about Florida, but it's hot as hell here in DC. It's almost 100 degrees today, and we're
Oh no.
getting into another heat wave.
It's the same, but with added rainstorm.
Well, every Florida afternoon has the added thunderstorm, I think.
Yeah.
So what was I saying? So my bass head blew up in Boston, and it was this panicky moment. And I have to say, these people in Boston, like some of the tech people who worked there, and even some of the people who were there early, they rallied. Within like half an hour, 3 different head choices had arrived, and they were stacked. There's some pictures somewhere online of like, I have 3 heads stacked on top of each other. And it kind of got me, the pajama bottoms collaboration. We should do that, Tierney. I like that. Thanks, Josh. So, you know what this did, the Hartke head blowing up? It kind of shook me out of my comfort zone. It's like, I had this like idea, like nothing must change in this setup. It is as it should be. And
Right.
turns out that many bass heads got, maybe not the exact sound of the Hartke head, but something like it. Yeah, I have an orange endorsement, as do you. And I'm trying. I tried one, the little guy,
The terror.
the
Yeah.
terror. That didn't work. That didn't get
Oh,
anything
really?
like the Kim Coletta. No, and there's only there's like 3 knobs on it, right? So there's no, when you don't have any pedals, there's only so much tweaking to be. There's no equalizer or anything.
Gotcha.
So I have a new. Orange just sent me a new head that I'll be trying out at this practice.
Okay.
I tried it briefly. I don't have a cabinet here. Like I just play through a little combo amp when I practice by myself.
Well, you
So
don't need a big cabinet in your house, probably.
I do not need an 8 by 10 cabinet.
No.
The coffin sounds so good. And that's what I did play. I did play an Ampeg SVT 8 by 10 cabinet, which when we were younger, it was like, no one wanted to carry that thing. Like,
No.
even in our 20s, it wasn't fun to carry that thing. And at some point, our sound guy, he was from Morgantown, West Virginia, and he was a skilled maker too. He ended up taking the Ampeg SVT back to his woodworking shop in West Virginia, taking the speakers out and constructing 2 cabinets with handles and wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So it was so cool. So he split it up. So it sounded
Nice.
like an SVT, but it was much easier to lift.
Yeah, no, I think that's just the curse of the bass player, it's like you have the big heavy amp. That's why one of the reasons why I got the Terror is because I can actually carry that.
You can bring it on an airplane, like you can fly with that thing.
Yeah, totally. And the Mustang too was like a practical choice. I had toured a 6-week tour with another band with a bass that was twice the size of it and had like the worst shoulder pain. I was like, no more of this. I'm gonna go small. And I ended up loving it. And like, a lot of people complain about the Mustang, but I think it's just wonderful and it works for me. And I think it sounds really
that.
good.
I love that bass, and it looks good. It's a good looking.
Yeah, my friend painted it pink for me.
It's very you. It's
Yeah.
very, very you. So, any questions?
No, nobody's got any questions. They're all just kind of in the chat.
No, I'm actually following the chat, multitasking. I think you get good at that when you're a school teacher.
So let's talk about your Iceland trip because that looked fantastic.
Because
And I was kind of living vicariously, like in your photos. It's been a long time dream of mine to go there. So
it is a fabulous country. It's my second trip there, but I haven't been for 15 years. I am dating a guy who lives in Belgium, and because of the pandemic, I can now, but I couldn't go to any of the what are called the Schengen countries in Europe. There's like 28 countries Americans couldn't go to. We haven't opened to travelers here from all over the world. Like that's still closed, especially Europeans can't come here right now. And so when we were looking to see each other, we had 3 countries we could pick from that would take us in Europe.
yeah.
It was Croatia, Greece, or Iceland were the places that both of us could go. And going
Hi,
back,
Janet.
Janet, I don't know. Oh, just Janet Morgan. Hi, Janet.
The
So
best.
we picked, going back to my I love cold. I'm not cool. Remember, I'm not cool. I like being cold. Okay.
I'm the opposite of you. I don't
Are
like.
you? So you would have picked Greece, which is like 40 degrees Celsius every day in the summer.
I
It's
still
actually
would
on
have gone to
fire.
Iceland.
Like Athens is actually on fire this week. There's a
Yeah.
fire in the city, which is crazy. But so we picked Iceland, and weather-wise, it was like my dream come true. The highest temperature was 62 degrees in 3 weeks. Highest temperature. And it is such a magical place in part because there aren't many people.
Yeah.
And there aren't many trees. And I love trees. We need trees. But
Yeah.
if you realize trees in the summer, if you're in beautiful places like the Pacific Northwest or whatever, they obscure your view of vistas. But in Iceland, nothing obscures your view. So, Janet, cold is always best. You and I that's something we bond over all the time. Yes. So you can just, when you look, you feel like it's otherworldly. You can really sense why the music that comes out of Iceland comes out of Iceland.
I was going to say the same thing because
Yeah.
they're just inspired by their surroundings.
The surroundings are amazing, and nature is everything. Like Reykjavik is a world-class city, and it's a beautiful city, colorful and vibrant, but outdoors is where it's at. So we spent the bulk of our time, and COVID was really like a non-existent thing there. They're heavily vaccinated. They're such a homogeneous population, so that's easier for them.
Yeah.
And they're also very reasonable people. And so, yeah, they just spent a lot of time outside, so no one was mask wearing at all. Like all mask mandates were gone then. So for 3 weeks, it felt quite normal again. But yeah, so Iceland, and even the Icelandic people were like, wait, you're here for 3 weeks? Like, no one does that. That's unheard of.
That's so cool. Your pictures were beautiful, and I'm glad you got to go like during a time where it seemed like we could do things.
After the pandemic teaching, I was a little beaten up. I
Hmm.
really was. I know there's parents on here, there must be, but with kids in school, I'll tell you, this school year last year wasn't easy for parents, teachers, or students. Like, no one was a winner. Like, it was just all around hard from,
Yeah.
single parents who, had to go to work, but their kids weren't in school. Like, it's just a nightmare. Like, I had a medical tech last year that I talked to when she was drawing some blood. And her story was she's a single parent with 3 kids. And I said, well, what's up with your kids right now? Because this is a school day and she's at work. She's like, I can't afford childcare, and the older one, who's in 8th grade, is watching the 2 younger kids while he tries to do his 8th grade schoolwork. And it's heartbreaking. Like, things are broken in this country.
Yeah.
It's really broken. So I was so hoping for the school kids especially, that it would feel more normal. We're going back in person, there's that. I mean, that's more normal. I was in person most of last year because we were at a private school.
You were working out of a tent too.
I was working out of a tent, yes. We were in Zoom to start the school year last year, and then we we went back to school in October and got these like wedding sized tents, and we taught the kids outdoors. And we always made jokes as teachers, like when the kids are distracted, it's like, squirrel. Well, they were actually distracted by squirrels. Squirrels
Of course.
all over the fucking place. So acorns are falling on the tent, and we're in the path of National Airport.
Oh,
So
God.
like jet planes are flying over pretty low, and
Are
it's
you wearing
exciting.
a mask outside too, or no?
We masked inside and outside. One of the things is adults need to wear the masks in school, really, I think, no matter what, because kids watch what adults are doing, right? And so
Yeah. You have to be a role model.
you have to be a role model. And so
But you have to project through that. Well, you should just get a little microphone and PA, and you can talk.
it's funny you say that. Some teachers use those who can't.
Yeah.
I could push my voice, but some teachers needed the like SeaWorld.
Headset. Yeah.
They wore the
The
headsets.
Madonna.
Yeah, exactly. So totally crazy. But so we're going right back into that this year, and I think a lot of people were mostly in virtual last year. And our dirty little secret in schools, especially for the younger kids, they can't socially distance for shit. It's not in their developmentally appropriate or right. They don't know how to do that. So even from the beginning, we'd be shouting 6 feet apart when that was what was suggested. They'd be 6 feet apart for 0.2 seconds. You turn your back, and then they'd be right like puppy dogs. So what ended up saving us mostly was the masks. We didn't know that at the beginning. We were like sanitizing surfaces and doing crazy things that ended up, we could dial back later in the year. But the kids were compliant with mask wearing. It was the adults, because we're more set in our ways. We were the ones who like ripping it off, taking a mask break in the bathroom or whatever.
Wow. So they stayed on.
They stayed on.
That's awesome.
And then they were no different than like, now we're putting on our costume or Halloween costume, whatever. They just
that's a good way to
they didn't have any
a little bit.
For the most part. They had no problem, and so that's the good news. They wear their masks in school. So we'll be doing that again this year.
When do you go back?
I go back in 2 weeks for some professional development, and then after Labor Day for real. So
I'm wishing you luck out there. You're doing God's work.
Thank you so much. We said we would keep it around this time. Shall we call it a day and maybe do this again?
I think so. I mean, I just want to ask you one more question.
Go for it. I have one more question for you.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Colleen Tully. This is one of my coworkers. You just missed me telling some school stories.
Well, Well, thanks everyone for joining us. So Kim, I just want to know, like, what were you listening and watching, and like, what were some things that kind of helped you get through some of these harder times? Like,
That's a good that's a good question. That's my question that I usually my brain starts freezing right around now. Like
I know
I'm
it's like going to the
slurping.
grocery store with a list and then like completely forgetting everything once you get there.
Like the interview question, like, what bands are you listening to now? And then I think like,
Janice says, "Don't be lightweights. We want more."
don't be lightweights. Like totally vague, vague, vague. I'm already like not answering the question.
Well, I think this thing's gonna kick us off in like 15 minutes. So
I won't talk about this for 15 minutes. I promise everyone that. You know, what ended up happening to me during the pandemic, I'm a big reader. I couldn't read. The pandemic brain set in. And, you know, a lot of musicians talked about this. For a long time, I couldn't really play music either. Like, I wasn't feeling. You went through that too, didn't you?
oh yeah, I mean, it's impossible when you have like the weight of everything on your mind. It's like, how can you also be expected to create something? You really have to be in the right headspace for that. And for me, I'm like, it takes me a long time to want to create anyways. So add in like this extra stress and like you just
Yeah.
you
Well,
just feel depleted.
you feel depleted, and you know, I think everyone for a while was definitely catastrophizing, right? Because it was like an
Yeah.
endless news loop, as we do here in the States. So I finally, at some point of the year, stopped reading so many articles and watching stuff about COVID because
You have to.
it's too much, right? It's too
Yeah.
much, and you can't really change too much about the trajectory. Unfortunately, you can only do your part, and some people aren't doing their part, so whatever. But you know, then it became binge watching, right? So binge watching.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I assume I'm not alone. I also did that thing for 3 weeks where you're like eating a ton of carbs,
Yeah.
and
Oh
Janet
yes.
Janet
Your
knows where
your
I'm talking.
health journey has been so inspirational.
Well, then I went on a health journey because yes, I when I realized the pandemic was going to last longer than 3 weeks, I'm like, I don't think I can keep eating just homemade macaroni and cheese um, for the whole
It's
pandemic.
okay every once in a while.
It is everything's okay once in a while, but I
I've
started
been making some late night blueberry pancakes occasionally. That's my
everything
treat.
everything in moderation, my friend. Except
Yeah.
I'm not particularly good at that with my eating. So, but I started doing this Zoom high intensity interval training class
Yes.
with women my age, which is cool. So it was like women wearing just like t-shirts and shorts, not like, you know, tricked out in spandex and stuff. Like, so it didn't feel intimidating to me. And
Yeah.
I went from like, I couldn't, you know, let's do some burpees and mountain climbers. And it was really hard because I hadn't done anything like that in a long time. But
Super hard.
super hard. But a year later, like I'm doing it.
That's
Like,
awesome.
yeah, no, that's all about just like feeling fit as you get older, right? Like health reasons and like kind
Yeah.
of, I'm appreciating the body I have more now, like just kind of celebrating what this body does for me on a daily basis, like a little more gratitude around it rather than looking at imperfections and this is wrong,
That's
this is too big,
fantastic.
this is whatever. But as women, you know, from a young age, we're trained in
Yeah.
some bad ways around, you know, body image stuff. So,
Yeah, no, I had a definite period of just like feeling hopeless and like and normally I will exercise, a lot throughout the week or whatever, but there was just this long period of just like inactivity and just feeling like what's the point? But when you and I talked a couple months ago, you were telling me about your HIIT classes, and I was like,
oh, do
it's just
tell,
like,
wait, you have to tell the people what class you did
oh,
occasionally. Come on.
well, I do this dance class sometimes. It's a group out in LA called Pony Sweat, and they are just like, it's just all inclusive, it's like there's no pressure. You don't have to know how to do anything, but it's just fun. And she calls everyone ponies, and it's like,
You know,
I love it.
I still want to try that. Like I'm
You
determined to
should.
try that. Maybe before the summer ends, I'll try one of the classes.
But when we talked, it was just like, I just got inspired, and I actually have since then done some strength training, like a couple of times a week. And my on my terms, I'm bicuspid aortic, so I can only do so much. But it's been just so great, like because it still allows me to have those pancakes,
Well, listen,
every once in a while.
I think the music scene that we're both part of and the people on this who are listening to us are part of, we got each other and we are getting each other through the pandemic, just like we've been getting each other through things since we were young teens. And that's what's so amazing. It's like just in your DNA. And it's
Yeah,
so hard to explain to people who aren't part of our music scene, what it's like, just like those bonds you form with people. And so my friends really got me through this year, and I hope so me helping you, others helped me, like it just was. And I think we're going to have to keep helping each other in the upcoming months as things get crazy again.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have a couple questions. So Ronnie says, what shows did you binge?
Oh, well, when I was in Iceland, um, the guy I was with, who's on this call right now, and I watched. We had to watch an Icelandic Netflix show that just came out called Katla,
Okay.
and it was super dark and weird and kind of cool, but it took place in a lot of the places in a town called Vik, which is Vik, which we had just been to, and so it's made by a Icelandic director who's really good, and I just watched that show. I'm trying to think what else I binged. I'm telling you, Ronnie, when I get these questions, and Ronnie, I know how to reach you if I think of some of the shows I watched. I'm not embarrassed to say it. I watched so much I can't actually remember. It was like
I same. I
there
think
were
I've watched
times when I'd just
everything
be
there
like,
is.
some stuff was good and some stuff was garbage. Like just like, you know, that
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm watching a show now. I think it's been out for a couple of years. It's called Atlanta, and it's Donald Glover from Community, and it's kind of based on like the hip hop scene in Atlanta. But it's like this last season it's just getting super weird, and it's really good. I would recommend that. And
Right.
I
That
just watched a show called Kevin Can Fuck Himself.
Oh, I really want to watch that show. It's getting such good reviews. I don't have the streaming platform that's on. It's on.
Oh, I don't either. I just downloaded a trial so I could watch
Oh,
it.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Janet being on here reminds me. Oh my God, Janet, you have to correct me. I'm gonna get this wrong. The Kate Winslet show I really want to watch. Mayor of
Oh,
East.
Easttown. I've heard
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah, I really want to watch that. That is my next thing to watch.
How did you guys meet? Maybe I missed that part. Sorry.
Oh no,
So
we didn't say.
we did not say, and that was on my list to talk about. But basically, pauses recorded with Jay Robbins maybe 10 plus years ago now, and we've just kind of become friends with his circle of friends, which is Kim. And Kim, I think the time we first met was at Jay's birthday party, his 50th birthday party at the Auto Bar. So
Yeah,
that
we had a
must
big
have been
party. Janet put it on, and it was amazing. Friends came from really all different
yeah.
worlds, even not even from just the United States, and it was really special. That was a cool night.
Well, we were all freaking out a little bit because, to us, you guys are all our heroes, and including like seeing, everyone you guys have worked with and Ian Mackay and like all these people being there was just a little bit overwhelming for us. But I
But
do
we're
remember that we talked to you for a while, and I felt like we just had this instant
we
connection.
did.
It's like we had known each other for a really long time. So that was really nice to, join you guys for that special occasion. And then I think the next time we saw each other was probably when we played together. But I do remember when we went back and recorded our last album, we got really excited because Jay had told us that he was making tapes for you. This was before Jawbox got back together, went to do some shows. So you're like, oh, what's going on? Kim's learning bass parts again? Like, this is exciting. And then you guys, of course, surprised us all with this awesome tour. So I felt like we
So
were
much fun. So we are trying to do some shows in March here in the US, fingers crossed. And then third time we have rescheduled our European tour.
Oh, yeah.
So, it was supposed to be in June of 2020. Obviously not. Then we thought surely a year from now it'll be fine. June 2021, not fine. And especially for large, like we're playing a couple festival shows. No. And so we're trying again next year. So
Okay. Well, fingers crossed for you.
thank you.
Po Body Snurfic. The show is called Atlanta. It's great.
Oh, okay. Your show. It sounds really good.
I love it. I highly recommend it. There was like a really weird episode. I want to talk about it, but I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, no, I also have the band has shows, and then I actually had some solo shows planned for this year too. One I'm really, really excited. It's like my first. Hi Warren Women. Hi Brooks.
It's Brooks here. Hi Brooks.
My first like official festival show. I would be playing a couple hours before TLC is playing. So I was really, really excited, and I'm hoping it's still gonna happen. I love TLC. It was like my first CD, so
So you were very excited.
I'm very excited.
I have tickets to some shows this fall, so I'm hoping. I don't know what's going to happen to indoor gatherings again. I don't know. I'm on a day-by-day plan. Why
Yeah,
not?
you
Yeah,
have
really.
to be. You
Yeah.
have to be. I mean, especially down here, it's a little bit, I mean, it's a big wild card. A lot of our positive shows are in Florida, and I'm hoping they'll happen, but some of them are in small venues, and all you can really do is just hope that the people in charge will take all the precautions they can, and you know, we're just waiting to hear what happens, basically. But I hope so. God, like one of the biggest things I miss is playing live. It's like my whole existence, so it feels really fucking weird to not play shows, and I think I felt a little bit lost because of it. So I can't wait to get back out there. It's like it's killing me.
Oh, my fingers are crossed for you.
You too.
Yeah, we'll see. We're gonna practice like we're playing shows.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's all you can do is just like have plans to look forward to and then see what happens.
That's right.
Janet, I want to play some shows with you. Anytime. Please.
Janet
has one of my
talented
favorite
musician with
voices
a
of all
voice
time.
like an angel, right?
Yes.
Her voice, it's crazy.
Totally.
I love her voice.
So talking about what we're listening and watching to, I'm listening to the Sinead O'Connor book. It's like amazing.
I read a review of that book. That woman's story is just.
She's a fantastic storyteller, and I highly recommend the audiobook because she narrates it, and she is just like her whole story is very intense.
It's intense.
But she says it with this like smile on her face. She laughs at these things, and she can look back at everything with like a net positive, and I just think it's so great. I'm like, I can't put it down. It's so good.
Oh, I've been reading a book, How to Deal with Difficult Parents in the Schools. Seriously, like it's part of my professional development. Oh, the kids are never the problem. It's always the parents. Anyway.
Yeah.
The kids are fine.
You can relate.
Oh my goodness.
Channels was great. Yes, they're pretty great. And they're still great. And Janet, you don't have to play solo shows with me, but one day would be cool.
Project. And we were going to name it something earlier, the Pajama Bottoms.
Yeah.
What
do you have any like upcoming? I thought you were working on like another band or something.
I've been playing. The guy I went to Iceland with is a drummer, and a really good drummer. And we've been sharing parts, and I'm finally like in the headspace to work on that again. Mm-hmm. And true story, we named this project already, and we already have a logo, even though we have
Wow.
30 seconds of music. Sometimes it just goes in different directions.
But sometimes you got to do things that will motivate you to do
Yes.
music.
Yes. So cool logo, cool band name. I'm not going to lay it out there yet.
Okay.
And I'll wait for like perhaps 2 songs to be written. But I'm really excited. I haven't done new music of my own like ever because I grew up with just Jawbox.
That's one of my questions for you too, is like I was curious if you had any other band. No. Okay. So, but that's a pretty great band to have.
Oh,
Your
thanks.
only band has.
I think so. Those guys are like my, family, like truthfully.
No, I totally like us as a band, Pause as a band, we've been so grateful for you and Jay and everyone's friendship, because it's like you're all just amazing people, and you're so incredibly warm and welcoming, and we just like when we got to open for you at 9:30 Club, we finally felt like we were home in a way, because it's like these are our people, we've always kind of felt like this like outcast
And
sort, like we don't know how to categorize ourselves. We always feel like a sore thumb sticking out. So
well, listen, because Jawbox, we had the same thing. We're not particularly easy to categorize, especially in the 90s.
yeah,
We didn't fall neatly into any one, subgenre of indie rock. So we would like in our very early days, we'd take any show we could get, and we opened for both Bad Religion and My Bloody Valentine, and both worked in different ways, So
yeah.
I like that, though. I like to.
But yeah, we've always had to kind of like morph a little bit to adjust to who we're opening for or playing with or whatever. But we kind of finally felt free when we were playing with you guys. It just felt like, yes, we can be, we can play these piano songs and we can play these really crazy songs or whatever. And it's like we can just be ourselves, and
Jawbox fans are open-minded and intelligent. Like they're gonna, they're gonna listen to new music and enjoy that experience. And so they did on this tour. So
we felt the love for sure. And I mean, that day in general was just fantastic. Like I never had seen you guys before. We had just played this great show, and then we're watching you side stage, and then someone brings us Jawbox ice cream, and we're just like,
yes, we made a job. My friend Melissa and Brian, who works at Discord, opened an ice cream shop in a neighborhood called Mount Pleasant here in DC. A little plug for it is called Mountain Desert, and the best ice cream. And they worked with us to make a Jawbox flavor, and we had it to give to people at the 30 Club show. Was pretty cool. Oh, Tierney, we're gonna get kicked off.
oh, okay. Well, I guess let's wrap up then. Thank you so much for everyone joining us for our first Instagram live.
We did it.
I'm glad we made it happen and we didn't fuck it up.
No,
And I
it's
think
cool.
it was fun, and thanks
It's fun.
for participating. I want to give a shout out to Zach. Has a new band called New Freedom.
Totally cool.
And it's so good. I just bought the EP on Bandcamp.
Okay.
I recommend it. There's a bass clarinet in it, a flute.
And Zach's singing in it. Like he's a musical genius.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Getting to see him play drums live several times has been an honor.
It's amazing.
Me too. But yeah, I have a new solo EP out. It's on Bandcamp. Kim has an upcoming project that has a logo that's going to come out.
Yeah, but just the logo is going to come out.
I love you, Kim, so
Love you,
much.
Tierney.
You're just an inspiration, and thank you for doing this. We should do this again.
It'll be fun. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you,
I
guys.
don't know how to end this. I guess I press the X.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.